The WellFounder Podcast is brought to you by 45 Fusion. Struggling to attract coaching clients consistently? At 45 Fusion, we've developed a proven YouTube ad system that helps coaches get clients predictably and consistently, even if you're just starting out. Plus, you won't need a massive budget to see results. You can run it for as little as $1 a day. Want to see how it works? We've put together a free training that reveals exactly how we do it and how you can use the same system to get more coaching clients for your business. Head over to 45fusion.com/free training to check it out, or click the link in the description.
This is the WellFounder Podcast.
So, welcome to the show, Rachel. It's an absolute pleasure having you on today.
Super happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. We're going to be talking about branding specifically and your company, which is called Psyched Branding.
Yes.
And before we dive in, though, I always like to kick off by allowing my guests to introduce themselves. Tell us who you are and how you're going to do the work you do.
So, Rachel Lopez, as you mentioned, I run Psyched Branding. I started Psyched Branding, and even where the name of the company comes from, because originally for my undergrad, I did psychology. While I was studying psychology, I realized I was also doing some project on the side, like very into social media. And I'm like, okay, maybe I need to look a little bit more into that because I really enjoy the work that I do with my hobbies. So I looked into taking some classes. I took some marketing classes and I realized how much of psychology I could apply to marketing. So then I just went full force and just dove into my master's of marketing, and that's where I just decided, okay, I'm going to create Psyched Branding so that we can apply all of my psychology knowledge into marketing and really take it more of an approach of understanding the audience and understand consumer behavior. And that's kind of the base of everything we do.
That's crazy. I like how when I heard the name Psyched Branding, I was thinking this is either psychic related or psychology related.
Yeah.
And I love your linking psychology and marketing, because that's exactly when I first got into marketing proper. That's exactly what I figured out. Like, this is just psychology, and you could. At that stage, I used to tell people that you could get very dark with marketing if you wanted to. You could. There's a lot of manipulation going on there, but very, very interesting, very interesting. And how big is the company at the moment?
We're actually quite a small team right now. It's four of us. It started with just me, and then last year we onboarded 3 other team members. They're amazing. We have our content manager, we have our graphic designer, and then our project manager, and then myself, of course. But the best thing about working with a small team is that we're able to really integrate with other companies and just be like an extension to them. So we become like their marketing team, just almost feels like in-house. So far it's working. We are looking to expand, but it's been a great way to really integrate with our clients.
I love it, and I prefer working with smaller teams. Anyway, I prefer. I had an agency founder the other day, and he organizes this networking events for agencies. And one of the things he mentioned is that some agency owners want to maintain a smaller team, and some want to build that massive team. So me, I'm in the smaller team group as well. I prefer having that small, doing big work with a few people than having this massive team. But either way, it works. Whatever works for everybody. So I'm with you on that, 100%. Awesome. All right. So tell us. Let's dive into what you do specifically now. Like you're branded. So I'm guessing you blend branding and marketing, or is there a crossover going on there?
We actually, originally the goal was to focus more in branding, and although we have helped a lot of companies just rebrand, that was the big start of our business, just helping rebrand. We help companies like the Energy Project. They were trying to move away from the project that they had been doing for so long into a completely new space. So we helped a lot with rebranding, and that goes really hand in hand with psychology. But then we started getting people reaching to us, asking us for email marketing, for social media, for the blogs, for affiliate marketing. So we said, okay, you know what? Let's do full stack marketing since that's the needs. after the rebranding, they're like, okay, but we want to keep working with you. Let's expand the business. So that's exactly what we did. So now our team really does an incredible job with social media marketing. We have email marketing management. We do the strategy. We build the content calendars, the whole 9 yards. So we've really honed in both earned media, organic marketing, and paid ads as well. So that's why we onboarded our graphic designer. We started really taking in the approach still with psychology in mind. I always tell my clients, you don't hire us and expect us to immediately start posting for you. Like, that's not gonna work. I won't put my name behind that, because I really need to get to know your audience before really we even put a post out there. So we just immerse ourselves for a whole month. We're in there finding the comments, answering questions, figuring out what really is the nitty-gritty, like what are those buzzwords that people are using within the community? Like, what are some things that tick the people off in the community? Like, you need to really understand the audience. One of our clients right now, they're actually doing a clinical trial for Parkinson's, right? So it was like understanding what are some words that could potentially help the Parkinson's community versus the words that are going to deter them, and think that, okay, maybe you don't understand the community because you could say something that you think it's properly said, but for instance, they don't like to be called patients. They like to be called people with Parkinson's, right? So there's just those little nitty-gritty things that you may not know it once you start posting something, that automatically they're gonna X you out as a brand if you think they think you don't understand them. So I think that's the key really to social media, is really understanding not just the brand but the audience, and to create a community. Which it's pretty much what we'll get into today, I'm sure. But it's about that, really building that community for our brand. So that's the.
I like that. Yeah, I really like that. I like how you guys. I don't think I've come across an agency that does that before, where they focus on. I know some do research, but not necessarily dwelling in the comments and engaging with people before you actually start work. That is very interesting. I know they do stuff like keyword research and audience listening and all that good stuff, but interesting. So is this for a month, what do you guys call this, like a research phase or something like that? Is that what this is?
Yeah, we do. Of course, we also dive into competitor analysis, but it's more so like audience research, because it's easy for me to just go in there and look up what keywords are going to do the thing, or what hashtags. But even though we'll talk about that if you'd like, but hashtags are a thing of the past, right? So it's not even about finding what keywords are going to help the algorithm, because maybe you'll find the right keywords and the algorithm might push your content and make it go viral, but you don't really want your content to go viral. Most of the times whenever a video goes viral, you're not really making sales from it, because it's just so many people that don't really fit the audience and the profile that you're targeting, right? So we figured that the approach of honing in on that bright audience, or the audience that essentially will convert, that's how you drive your audience from just a like or a comment into really your sales. At the end of the day, that's, as a brand, that's what you're out there putting in your time and efforts for. But by really honing in on the audience and that community, like, automatically you start. One of our clients, it's a plant cell technology. When we originally got them, they had about 1,500 followers at most. And now on YouTube, they're on over 20,000 followers. We hit 10,000 on TikTok. We hit 15,000 on Instagram. And we just keep seeing people tag us all the time. And we created that community that really we don't even need to reach out to affiliates, like their own customers, because they know that the moment that they message the brand, we'll repost their content, we'll answer their questions, they feel heard. And the moment that they feel that connection with the brand, that's your key to success, because you earned that client, you earned that trust within the community that you're putting out content for, right? So it's more than just putting something out there and see if it lands. It's more so like you they feel hurt. They know that you saw them and that's the content that you're putting out. So that's what's been the most successful for our clients.
I love it. I love it. Creating that emotional connection between you and that is very important, and that is very difficult to do as well because of it, especially if you're working with bigger brands. Like if you're, which I'll ask you. I'd like to know if there's any strategy you use to do that. But I'm curious as well. Before, do you guys niche down in any? I know you mentioned the Parkinson's client. Are you working with medical companies, or do you have any industry that you niche down?
Originally, I wanted us to niche down to just small businesses.
Okay.
I realized that there were just so many people that needed the help that I couldn't hone in one industry because everybody was reaching out to us. I mean, I have a biotechnology client, I have an author, I have a business-to-business client, we have the medical device, Parkinson's. So across the board, it's just our personal audience has become really just people that need that connection, right? So it boils down to the different brands that really need to be able to connect with their audience to be able to be successful. Like there's other brands out there that already have millions of followers and have already built some sort of a community. And that's not really who reaches out to us. The people that reach out to us are the ones that are struggling to really build that. So that's where we just come in, and what we do best, we have our content manager. Truly, she's a researcher. That's her strong suit. So sometimes I am just mesmerized by her research work, right? But it boils down to that, to really like all the effort and all the time we put into to truly understand that audience. And then we come up with a strategy and a plan. We give them their content pillars, the whole 9 yards, their content calendar, and we start testing, right? A/B testing and the whole 9 yards. So with the data always tells us, right, like what we did right and what we did wrong. And then just seeing the comments, and we've seen the community. We've even built Discord channels to really hone in on bringing the community, Facebook groups, Instagram broadcast channels. Like we've gotten comments like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are everywhere," because we are exactly where the community is. Like if we see that they're out there commenting on Reddit, like we found out, okay, let's be on that Reddit community because that's where our audience is. So we thrive on really getting to know where the audience is, what they want from you. Like okay, they really want to learn the education behind this so that they can use the product. Okay, let's start a YouTube channel. Let's give them the education they want, right? So it's about understanding what that audience really wants, where they are, where they connect, and that's where we make ourselves known there. So
I love it. And I think that's very powerful because of that's one thing that could differentiate you from your competitors if you can really nail that connection, because they won't go anywhere. They'll be tied to, they love you, and then that's another thing another branding agency guy told me anyway. It's like making them fall in love with your brand, and when they do, and then that's it for you. So is there any, besides the research that you do, is there anything else that you do to create that connection between, especially if you're working for like a company like a Parkinson's device, a medical device? How do you create that emotional connection between a company like that and their audience?
It's been about figuring out what the pain points really are, right? So if you understand now that you've done the research and everything else, now you have that one, you know what they need. You're putting out the content that you know that they need. So now they feel that connection, right? It's like, oh man, I wonder what I could do, to help me with my shoes. How do I tie my shoes? So then that like that's something that we're seeing consistently being brought up as questions. Now we're putting them with an educational infographic on how they should be able to tie their shoes. Like, oh, I wish like there was like a research list of like the top things that I should be doing, or the top 5 places where I should reach out whenever I need help. And then, okay, the next week, guess what's out there as a post? there's that list of places where they can reach out. So it's just literally active listening and just having that. Social media shouldn't be just like you putting out the content. It really should be that two-way conversation between you and your audience. Like, the people that are doing it right are the people that are listening to what their audience has to say. Like, I've been seeing so many posts like going viral lately of, I started replying to comments and my audience grew. I started replying to comments and my revenue grew. Well, yeah, because now you're actively making your clients know that you're there for them, that you listen. You took time out of your busy day to reply to their comment. As minuscule as it sounds, it's such a big impact. And then the more people that see that you're replying with kindness and truly understanding that you're not just replying like thumbs up, no, like you're truly taking your time to give them a thoughtful response, that's where that community really begins to take off. It's a beautiful thing when it works right.
I love it. I really do. And I like how you guys don't necessarily focus on a particular. It's quite different from some social media companies or companies that do social media. They tend to focus on, say, Instagram, TikTok, but you guys go where even up to Reddit even. That is crazy. That is crazy. Do you then, I guess every client will be different for you guys. There's you have that, strategy, but then you deploy it where it's needed, kind of thing. Is that how that would work?
That going back to that first month, that's where we start to really do all of our research, like where the audience is, where is it that they talk about most, and then that's where we come up with a strategy. We come up with the whole presentation, have our one-on-one calls with our clients to let them know what we found. Really, we gather all of the information that the client gives us, but I think where we learned the most is once we have finally access to all of their accounts and we're scrolling through all the accounts, just understanding, okay, maybe, why is there like not much traffic on Instagram? It's like, well, because all of your audience is on Facebook. Let's guide us there, because that's where they are, right? Because if you understand where the audience is and you position yourself there as the leader, it's a game changer. You'd be surprised how many of my clients are thriving with their own Facebook group that we created for them. They didn't even think much of it at first, but we have gotten 22,000 Facebook group followers over the last year, where they're still at 5K on Instagram, because that's where your audience is. So you just need to show up and be present and have that truly genuine interaction with your audience wherever they're at. So it's really understanding, but to get to that, you need to understand who your audience is. I am shocked at how many people just start posting without having their audience in mind. I see that over and over again. I'm coaching or I'm mentoring another person looking into doing social media, but they're posting a lot of what they do in a day, or what essentially just tips for other people to do social media. It's well, is your goal to mentor other people for social media? Because if that's your goal, that's great content, right? But if your goal is to do social media for businesses, then you need to put out content for that client in mind, right? What would you do for, let's say, if your client is biotech, what would you post this week for a biotech client? That's the kind of content you should be putting out there, because that's the audience that you want to connect to. So really, it's all about rewiring who is your audience. Don't just post for posting, because that's a buzzword nowadays, right? Consistency. Yeah, consistency is important, but consistency done right. Not just consistency of let me just, oh my God, let me struggle to put up something today. Let me just I don't know, film myself on my keyboard and just put something out there. No, there needs to be a strategy. Create yourself a content calendar. There's so many tools out there. There's Later, there's Hootsuite, there's ClickUp. The resources are out there, and with AI now has come into play, it's even easier to do it. But but you need to do it with your audience in mind. I think if there's one key takeaway from this entire conversation is get to know your audience, like truly put it in a piece of paper, do it the old school way, like who do I want it to be my client? Okay, what do they do? Where are they at? Like getting to the psychological triggers, not just the demographics, right? Like it's fine, like, okay, how many times have you seen, since you're in marketing, right? Like how many times have you seen like, oh yeah, my target audience is 18 to 65, male and female in the United States, you know? Get deeper than that. Like that's one thing you have to do. Get to really understand like, okay, but where are they at? Like, you have a plant community. Okay, where do they go talk about plants? Probably in some plant Facebook group. Like they'll probably in Instagram. They're probably at your local plant swap meetup, you know, but they're not going to be on LinkedIn, right? Unless like you're looking to be, you know, like connecting with a plant nursery specifically. Then, you know, like understand what your audience is and what they do, what motivates them, what are those things that make them feel like you're part of their community? Like what do they talk about? What don't they talk about? What are some things that are like, oh my God, this is not something? And so the moment you mention that, then you get like all the comments, but negatively, right? So understand what are their psychological triggers, truly their interest. If you're going to be doing paid ads, like that's probably the number one thing you should be looking into, the psychology of it, right? Because again, 18 to 65 in the United States, it's like trying to like send a needle to land exactly where you want it to land, and you gave it a target this massive. Like, no, give it a target like this and it will likely land more likely than not, right? So that's my key takeaway from this. Like truly hone in on who your audience is and get to know them. That's crucial.
Yeah. I love it. And I agree with you. Starting from the end, basically from that point is like the best way to go. And as we wrap up then, because of this has been a really insightful, I really love you guys' take on social media. It's very, very refreshing. But if there's one thing, then if you could leave us with a final tip, like in terms of honing in on your audience, if there's let's say a devices company now, like a medical devices company, what's the one thing that you an entrepreneur can do to really, really nail down on their audience? Like, let's say their audience is on Reddit. How do you discover that your audience is on Reddit?
At the very least, just do a quick search, right? Like if you know that, if you know that, let's put the Parkinson's example again, right? Like if you know if your audience is Parkinson's, like look up the conversation, like go on all of the platforms that you know of and search up the word, and then you see what the conversation is there. Likely, if you're going to look and talk about Parkinson's, if you think about who the audience for Parkinson's is, likely they're not going to be on Reddit. Like, you know, if you look it up on Reddit, it's usually the caregivers or younger people taking care of people that have Parkinson's. So then maybe you can talk the conversation about caregiving on there, but you're looking at what the conversation is. By you immersing yourself, like put yourself in their shoes, right? What would you do if you were in that situation? Where would you seek out for help? You'll probably go on Facebook and put Parkinson's, and you have a ton of Facebook groups on Parkinson's. You'll see the amount of people that are on those Facebook groups. Go on Instagram and see what people are posting. You get a lot of like, oh, there's like some webinars. Like, okay, people like webinars. Maybe we should do a webinar. Look up the hashtag on Instagram and see what kind of posts people are sharing. You'll see that it's more compassionate posts. People just speaking from their experience. So put yourself in the shoes of your audience and think, what would I do if I needed to seek help for it? Like what would I research if I was in that position? Like what would you Google, right? So when you think about putting yourself in your audience, like again, you need to understand who your audience is first, like truly who you're targeting, and then put yourself in their shoes. Like, okay, let's go back to the plant example, right? If your audience is like plant people, put yourself in their shoes. What would a plant person go for like a meetup? Again, Facebook, right? Like you're not gonna go on LinkedIn and be like, oh my God, can we swap a plant? So it's putting yourself in the audience. Like you'll likely find a lot of people who plant on Reddit. You'll likely find a lot of people looking for plant inspiration on Pinterest. So it's putting yourself in your audience shoes and really think like the psychological aspect of it, of what would I do? What would my interest be? Like what's some kind of questions that I would have? My plant has pest problems, right? Like maybe let me go like look it up on Google. Let's see the pest problems, look for a blog. So then maybe I should add a blog for the plant community because they're gonna be looking for things like that. So it's just really removing who you are and putting yourself on who your audience is, I think, is the best way to go about it.
I love it. It's a powerful way to wrap up. I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Of course.
In terms of creating the content, then, because of that just came, do you help them create the content, or do you like get the content out of your clients and then create it for them? Or how does that work?
We have both ends of the spectrum. Okay. We have clients that we do all of the content for. Like there's even instances where we go and do a whole content day every 6 months where we just film content for 8 hours straight. We plan it accordingly and then we edit it, right? Like I think one thing that we pride ourselves in really is we are really good with short-term video and just in general capturing the audiences with video. Like that's on one end, and I have another one that's like strictly post and carousels and just a mix of that. But it really just, again, it depends on what the audience is going to consume. But for the most part, we handle all of it for them. There's a lot of instances where they send me like the videos and they send me like the blogs that were written by the scientists and this and that, and we turn all of that into consumable content. But yeah, like in the other scenarios, we even go film the whole thing, plan it out, edit it, post it out there. So it really just, it depends on the needs, right? But that's something that I'm gonna leave everybody with, is to just plan it out. Like some people are like, I don't really have time to like film something. And like, for instance, one of my author clients is like, well, I'm like, I need you to talk about your book, right? Like it's your book. I need you to sit down in front of a camera. I'm like, well, I can't really like get that done. I'm like, okay, look, you're going to run every day. Grab your phone on the run. When you're feeling the most inspired, sit down at the bench and just speak about, what you're feeling in that moment. And that has worked wonders. Like I've received the most content from that author ever on runs. And then because it's so authentically him and what he's doing, and it's not just like super polished, sitting down, trying to read from a teleprompter, those are the ones that have had the best result because it's just authentically him and his thoughts, right? So it's just being and showing up authentically with your audience in mind. But show up. Like consistency is important when done right.
I love it. I love the example of the author running. That is such a good idea, actually, because sometimes when you're not, it's you're familiar with this, being in front of the camera to even just share your thoughts on camera, or there's something about it that just stops you from
it's a process.
From being your true self. Exactly. So that could work very well. Rachel, this has been an awesome combo. Thank you so much for doing this. And if any of our viewers is watching and would love to get in touch with you or learn more about Psyched Branding, what's the best way for them to do that?
We can be reached out either on our Instagram, which is at Psyched Branding, or they can visit our website, psychedbranding.com. We have free 30-minute consultations for anybody that wants to just even pick at our brains. We don't charge them anything for that. So I always encourage people, if you just want to sit down with me and get some ideas out of me, just come and meet me in a 30-minute call. We can talk, you can tell me about your problems, I can tell you about my ideas, and then we can see where we take it from there. So
brilliant. And we'll include all of that in the show notes. Once again, Rachel, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a great conversation and a good way to end the week.
A very good way to end the week, indeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care.
The WellFounder Podcast is brought to you by 45 Fusion. Struggling to attract coaching clients consistently? At 45 Fusion, we've developed a proven YouTube ad system that helps coaches get clients predictably and consistently, even if you're just starting out. Plus, you won't need a massive budget to see results. You can run it for as little as $1 a day. Want to see how it works? We've put together a free training that reveals exactly how we do it and how you can use the same system to get more coaching clients for your business. Head over to 45fusion.com/free training to check it out, or click the link in the description.